Belief isn't just a simple thing that you just believe and that's it. It has been connected with the word which has been said by God. This is the thing. And what's the sense if the person believes and that's it? We have the New Testament, the Old Testament, the Bible, and we have conscience. If there wasn't any continuation, then what's the point? Why do we have a conscience, in our life then? Why would we try to live? Because in the animal world, they are trying to live according to the instinct. They also have conscience. Yeah, but they are acting in an interesting way. That's why for the person is given conscience. And this earthly life doesn't end just simply there. And we will be responsible for our actions. We will be responsible for that in this judgment day. And in front of the eternity, we will be responsible for not only that what we see, but also what we don't see, which is inside of ourselves, because we don't see our actions. But God will be the one who will judge us. We can't ignore conscience. It is a bad thing. Let us take a look in the Gospel of Luke. There was such a case. Starting from the verse 19 till the verse 39, 31, till the end of the chapter. There was a certain rich man, which was clothed in purple and fine linen, and fared sumptuously every day. And there was a certain beggar named Lazarus, which was laid at his gate full of sores, and desiring to be fed with the crumbs which fell from the rich man's table. So in other translations there is not this word, the crumbs. And moreover, dogs came and licked his sores. And licked his sores. And this person was in such a hunger. When the person is in hunger, and God wants, it doesn't mean that we will see that this person was very sick. He was also denied also these, in the verse 21, for us it is translated as he wasn't eating anything. It is only in our translation. But in other translations there is not such thing as the crumbs. He wasn't eating. He wanted to eat. Yes, it might be that he wanted to eat the crumbs, but he wasn't able also to put these dogs away. And the dogs came and licked his sores. And you can understand this word sores in different ways. In Russian it is also translated in a different way. Sores. I am an association with this something with clothing, in Russian translation. But the second episode, First we will see the beggar guy and then the rich man, and we will make a little analysis. I wrote out some few things here. Lazarus, first of all, he was so sick he couldn't put away these dogs, because they were licking his sword. And I understand that this rich man, he had a certain area, and there were a lot of people walking around this rich man. All these bottle brothers, they were living in a joyful life, and you can say that this rich man, he was really giving this alcohol to his fellow man. But it didn't help to this rich man still anyway. Why? Because God is teaching us so that we would take care of the sick ones. And if you can't take care physically, you can take care of him mentally. He was a beggar. He was a Lazarus. He was a beggar. And then when we get ill, our social things, they are in the second plan. And he was really not in the best situation financially. Lazarus. Lazarus didn't have any relatives who would take care of him, like a little minimum. He wasn't able just to live this joyful or this extravagant lifestyle, but still, those people like if you want just to drink alcohol, you have to have some certain amount of money. So, the next one about Lazarus. First of all, Lazarus, if he was a believing person, and then God allowed him to get in this type of position. Because in the Old Testament, when you were, if you had a low income, then you have lots of children. And this also goes also to nowadays. Maybe he's ill, maybe he's suffering, and he's a sinner. But this case shows the other way. And if you are a sinner, it doesn't mean this case isn't this case. First of all, if he was a sinner, if Lazarus was a sinner, then the angels wouldn't take him to paradise. And we know that those who are sinners then they won't get to paradise. But Lazarus wasn't a sinner. So this case about that he was like ill because of these sins, it wasn't this case. He would understand that he was very humble, because those friends which had the rich man, they were walking around him all the time. And Lazarus wasn't saying any bad things about those people, about those rich guys. And on those friends maybe thought that this Lazarus was a sinner, and we don't have anything in common with this Lazarus guy. And then they would also think that, oh, you see, he's a believer, but you see in what a miserable way he's being put. And this is this case.
Dieva ziņā tas ir principā.
It is
Cik var
incompetence
svētīt, cik ne. Lai
of
gan
God.
sākotnēji, ja mēs lasām, teiksim, oriģinālo tekstu,
First of all, when we are reading in the original
frāzes, tad uzreiz
phrases,
nepateikšu, kurā pantā, mazliet arī šeit ir latviski tas minēts.
it is also being mentioned here in Latvian language.
25.
In the verse 25. But Abraham said, Son, remember that thou in thy lifetime received thy good things. On the verse 25 it is being translated the wrong way in Latvian. In thy lifetime received thy good things. And likewise Lazarus evil things. But the ending is a different story in the case of Lazarus and with the rich man. And we are living our lives according to these principles of God, you know, and how we understand them. We all have being born nude, but we get all of these blessings from God. And it also concerns the spiritual things as well. We all have a chance to serve to God and to trust to Him. But then somebody gets these blessings in financial sphere, the other in the other area. Somebody is being blessed with health, but the person's life has all the time a continuation. But God allows us to suffer because we have that way we are being cleansed through these sufferings, and we are being blessed more, and God is blessing in that way more us. We could also analyze this theme more, but I won't go into detail. But this verse also is very similar to that which is being said in about those that the sun shining not only to those who are bad, but also to those ones who are good. But because we have a different theme, we won't get into detail. We can see that Lazarus was virtuous. An angel took him to paradise. We also can see one moment. The situation with Lazarus is very difficult. That's why he didn't have money. It would be easier for Lazarus if there was another person similar to him. It would be a lot easier for Lazarus. He even didn't have a person who would be with him in that hard moments at that time. Only God. Maybe that he was in the desert, then that would make sense. But in this situation, he didn't have even a person who would be and stick with him, you know.
bagāts
But
cilvēks
here you
uz
see a
cietu
rich
tieši
man who
vienādi.
is
Bet viņš te
celebrating
pret
and
Dievu
living
teica,
this
kāpēc tu svētī, o mani ne, vai ne? Tā kā
extravagant lifestyle.
te ir atkal ne tikai slimības dēļ viņam bija grūti, bet viņam bija vairāk
Here we
apstākļi.
have this case that
Kāpēc viņi
Lazarus
negrib
not only didn't have this
pirmkārt,
difficult
tie, kas
situation
tur ir,
because of his
tie vispār
illness,
viņam uzmanību nepievērš un
because
netaisās
but
palīdzēt, un arī
nobody
tie draudīgi,
was
kas tur
giving
nāca pie
attention
šī
to him
bagātnieka.
as well
Jā, tā kā te ir tāds arī moments.
compared to the rich man
Vēl,
who's been
kāpēc viņš
surrounded by
cieta, tā kā
people all
jautājums no
around.
vienas puses. Nu, tāpēc, kad sakiet, ko gribat,
You
bet
can
ciešanas
tell
dvēseli
what you
dara
want,
gaišāku.
but
Dvēseli
suffering
šķīsta. Un kā mēs
make
to varam
our
redzēt,
soul
ņemsim
more
šo pašu
bright.
piemēru, lai tālu mēs
They cleanse our
visu.
soul. Suffering
Kas ir
cleanse
baigi
our
interesants.
soul.
Mēs šitajā pašā līdzībā varam paskatīties, ko runāja bagātais vīrs, ka viņš nomira.
But we can see also in this
Cik viņš
comparison what
žēlsirdīgs
did say the
pēkšņi
rich man when
palika,
he died.
Un bagātais teica tā, es tevi lūdzu, tēvs, sūti to uz manu tēvu.
Then he said, I pray thee therefore, Father,
brāļi,
that thou wouldest send him to my father's house, for I have 5 brethren.
Cietsirdīgais bagātais cilvēks, ciešanās, cik
You
žēlsirdīgs.
see that this rich man, he was in suffering. And you see how his attitude changed.
Lai viņi nenonāk šī
That he may testify unto them, lest they also come into this place of torment.
Vērsās ar tādu lūgumu, ja lai Lācaru, kuru viņš neievēroja, tā kā viņš bija tūmā.
You can see that in this moment he didn't notice Lazarus at that time, but at this time
Viņš atcerējās.
he remembered, when he is in that position, when he is in this torment, he remembers Lazarus.
Ciešanas, ko izdara.
And you see what does suffering do with your soul. Maybe if you don't have belief, then that's a different case. But in this situation, it was. But a lot of times, most of the time when there is suffering, then the person changes. When he's being put in suffering, his soul, when it's being put in this suffering situation, when somebody would tell me. You can see also that the rich man who was in his sense very evil one, you can see that even he in suffering, you can see he changes, And there was this one moment. Why was he talking about the resurrection? Maybe he had heard about that in the Sunday school. Lazarus, he had heard something about that. It just didn't occur to him like that because he has heard about that, about these resurrection things.
Šī pārdabīgās lietas, kad miroņi ceļās augšā, tā kā ikdienas ir tā, tad visticamāk tā arī būtu, tad Dievs izmantot arī šādu variantu. Bet Dievs caur Abrahamu pasaka, ne,
but God, through Abraham, told him, showed him that you had everything, and we also have Christian radio where everything and lot of things, and we have a lot of materials, internet. Go study them, look at them, because it is written in the Bible. But people as well ignore that. Because Lazarus was in front of him all the time, to this rich man. And Lazarus would have taught him how to trust to God, how to serve to God, but the rich man ignored it. So then, yes, Lazarus was hungry. His life was hanging. But Lazarus trusted in God. And one of the reasons is that God prepared a big reward for Lazarus. That's why, because Lazarus was ill, and he was in this bad
dievs
situation.
sagatavoja atalgojumu tikai
But
tāpēc, ka
God was preparing a big reward
viņš
for Lazarus
parādīja savu ticību
because he showed
tajā
his
brīdī uz
belief
Dievu. Ot,
and his
neatkarīgi, vai
trust
tu
in
esi
God in those
bagāts vai
difficult
nabaks, tam
situations.
nav nozīmes.
It
Jo varētu
doesn't.
padomāt arī tādu versiju, ja tu esi bagāts un tev viss iet kā smērēts,
Then you
tad
would think that if
sagatavo
you are
mūžīgo
rich and
restorātu. Nē,
everything goes smoothly, then everything is
viņi ir
okay.
aizslēgti tajā brīdī, ja mēs nepraktizējam krusta dzīvi. Jo Jēzus teica,
It
kas
is
sagatavo
wrong in the
priekšā
wrong
maniem,
way.
to
These
nodod.
rich
Jēzus teica,
things with a
aizver
person.
sevi
If you
un
don't
praktizē
practice
krusta dzīvi un
the
Dievs
cross life, if you don't
attīstīs.
deny
Un
yourself and take
ja
up the
arī
cross each and
gadīsies
every
cilvēks,
day, if
kurš
you don't fight against
dzīvo varbūt pārpilnībā,
these
ļoti
desires,
bagāts,
against sin,
varbūt tādos apstākļos, ka viņam viss ir kā smērēts, iet, ja, vienalga, ko viņš arī darīja. Ja viņam nav šī krusta dzīve, ja viņam
if
nav
this
iekšējā
person
krusta dzīve,
who is the rich one,
viņam mūžīgi ir aizslēgta,
if
pat ja viņš ir
he
ticīgs.
doesn't have
Tas
this
ir interesanti,
cross
tāpēc, ka
life,
Bībelē par ticīgiem
is
arī ļoti
denying
daudz, kas
yourself,
rakstīts.
fight up against the
Tie, kas
sin,
tur
then
demons dzenē, zinām tos
paradise
pāntus,
is
ja?
being closed
5
for
jaunavas
him.
e,
A lot of
un
other
sanāk tā, ka
scriptures similar to this.
daudz ko nosaka tieši šī krusta dzīve, šī iekšējā dzīve.
A lot of
Šī
things is being
vērība,
said by your inner
attiecībā
life,
pret savu dvēseli.
your cross life.
Un viņš bija tas, kas praktizē ticības dzīvi.
And Lazarus was the one who was
Varbūt tas bija kaut
practicing
kādā
the
mērā palīga līdzeklis, tas, ka viņam
believer's
būtu slimība, daudz
lifestyle,
ko nevarēja darīt, bet viņam bija dvēseles stāvoklis pareizs.
But he had
Un
this
viņš
right condition
jau
of
kaut
his
kādā
soul.
mērā samaksāja par saviem grēkiem.
And in some way, Lazarus paid for his
Kaut kādā mērā.
sins
Es zinu,
in
ka
this
kāds
type
teikt,
of
viens tur
situation.
Krists visur izdarījis pie krusta, ja? Un tādā
And he
stilā.
wasn't
Bet
there
Dievam tas
wasn't this
tomēr
case that
parāda
he was relying only
ka
and
tomēr
speculating with Christ,
grūtības mums
Jesus has done everything on the
kā
cross,
minēja,
and that's it.
Mēs mainamies pēc grūtības. Un līdz ar to arī šī līdzība parāda to, ka
This
mēs kaut kādā mērā samaksājam par saviem grēkiem.
parable
Ko
shows that we are paying in some way with our sins, with this type of situation, as it is shown in the case of Lazarus.
Un kādā veidā mēs zinām,
And in what way?
viņam tur lika izvēlēties kādas grēka sekas, ja tur uz vīrus kaut kāds.
That's because of
Slimība un
sequence.
ienaidnieki tev uzbruks un vajās. Un es
You
neatceros,
know,
tur vairākas
the
epizodes.
sequence of sin,
Man liekas,
as
bet
we
pagaidi, taču
in the case of
jā, viņš piedod, bet
Lazarus.
savu grēku dēļ mēs arī šķīstamies, ja
And also because of our sin, we are being cleansed as well.
Lai mūžībā
These are the
mēs
consequences
būtu
of
labākā
sin.
pozīcijā. To mēs arī redzam.
And we can see in the position of Lazarus.
Gadījumu. Un plus viņš cieta kaut kādā mērā
And plus,
kalnu. Jo viena daļa tur tie visticamāk arī skatījās uz viņu kā uz pēdējo tādu Dieva sasodīto,
maybe those who were looking at Lazarus, they were looking at him like that he was like a cursed person, that God has really left him.
Zini, kas pa sabatu ir interesanti?
You know what's the interesting thing about the Sabbath?
Ikdienas upuri dubultā.
You had to give your sacrifice twice as much when you were in Sabbath. So you would have to turn to spiritual things in Sabbath.
Tas bija pēc vecās derības.
Because from the Old Testament now, in the New Testament in your living,
visu laiku mums ir kā Dievs mums kubina māca, aizliedz sevi.
God is really inquiring us all the time, be in the Sabbath. We have to be in the Sabbath all the time.
Viņus atraut no ikdienišķām.
Because the Old Testament in this day was given just to put away all these people from their everyday things, I have to do this, I have to do this. But at that time in the Old Testament, that's why the Sabbath was being given. But now the God is inquiring us to be in the Sabbath every day. That's why the Sabbath is also being given as an outer form, and that's why the Sabbath is being also given to us.
Protams, par to viņš arī cieta sodi, tas ir skaidrs. Jā. Un
And
tas ir par to. Un vēl tāds interesants moments. Tur tas
one interesting
dialogs arī
moment
iet šeit, ja mēs skatāmies.
we can see
Tur
here.
bija tas dialogs. Tad tā.
There was a
Jā,
dialogue.
tad gadījās, ka nabagais nomira un eņģeļi viņu aiznesa Abrahama klēpī.
Yes,
Arī
and you can
bagātais
see in the
nomira un
southern
arī tika
part.
apglabāts. Un no elles, kur viņš cieta mokas, viņš pacēla savus acis un ieraudzīja Abrahamu. Un no
And in
tālienes
hell he
viņa
lifted up his
pacēla
eyes,
viņu
being in
klēpī
torments,
un
and he and
Lāceru
Abraham
ieraudzīja.
afar
Tā
off,
kā bija
and
pie
Lazarus in
deguna
his bosom.
Lācars tur zemes dzīvē, viņš neredzēja, bet tur viņš ieraudzīja. Un tas ir speciāli, ka
And you know,
kāpēc? Lai tā
the,
sirdsapziņa, jā,
the
lai viņš
rich man
apzinātos.
and
E,
his
Ir vēl tāds
earthly
komentārs, ka
life didn't see Lazarus, but
tiem,
when he is in
kuriem
hell,
mēs
he
esam
sees
sludinājuši, un
Lazarus.
viņi nonāk ellē,
And
viņi
those
obligāti
persons who
redzēs
get in the
tos,
hell, they
kas
will
viņiem ir
see
sludinājuši.
those ones who have
Obligāti.
been
Jo tas būs
prophesied to
tas, kas
them, who have
liecinās
been,
pret viņiem, arī tiesas dienā.
and that will be also the one
Par
thing
to
which
raksta
will be
kā
up against their conscience in the
bibeliskajā
judgment day.
obligāti. Un šis gadījums to parāda.
And this case
Un
shows,
viņi nevarēs pārmest
and they won't
tā kā bagātnieks
just
Lācerā, tu man nesludināji.
say, oh, okay, I didn't see
Būtu
him.
gatavs sludināt, bet viņš jau nepiegāja. Varbūt arī kaut kādā
And
brīdī
then
viņš
Lazarus,
sludināja,
he
runāja
was
par dievvalstību. Viņš
maybe
noteikti
ready
nolādēts,
to,
apsties, tu slims, man ir Dievs
to
svētīs,
prophesy
Dievs
to
man vairāk
him,
mīl nekā tevi. Un
to evangelize
iespējams,
him,
kādas
but
sarunas
but
arī
he did,
sties
but the
nāk.
rich man didn't
Un tagad viņš redz
come to
Lāceru.
him.
Nevis
And now he sees Lazarus when he is
Jāni
in
tur
hell.
kaut kādu, ja, kas ir ticīgs. Nē, viņš redz tieši tos, kas tikai viņiem sludinās.
And he will see not the neighbor who didn't evangelize him, but he will see those ones who evangelize him, but he didn't listen to them. That's about the person who will be in the hell.
Un kas notiek?
And what happens?
Ka šis te parāda vienu lietu.
This shows one
Šis te
thing.
moments parāda
This
vienu
moment
lietu,
shows one thing.
Draugi, mamma, tētis,
That your
brāļi,
friends,
māsas,
mother,
kurus mēs
father,
pazīstam, ja
and
viņi
the persons
ticīgi,
who
viņi
we know,
nepalīdzēs. Nevarēs
they won't help you.
Nevarēs palīdzēt tiem, kas ir
They won't be able to help
Nevarēs.
to those who will be in hell.
Nevarēs. Jo
They
te
won't be
rakstīts,
able to help. And it is said,
tā, 24. Skatāmies tālāk, ja?
verse
Tad viņš savā
24.
stiprā balsī Abraham tēvu,
And he cried and said, Father
Abraham,
Abraham,
kuru viņš nepazina,
hell,
dzīvē reāli nav redzējis, ja?
whom
Bet
he
viņš
didn't
dzirdējis,
know.
acīm redzot, skolā bijis.
But maybe he remembered when he was in
Uzreiz jau
school.
tik tūs palika, ja tēvs, ja?
And at this moment you can see the closeness. He's calling him Father Abraham,
kas bija
have
deguna
mercy on me.
pēkšņi bagātais paliek
And
ļoti
send Lazarus. And
labsirdīgs.
then in
Viņš tur atcerējās arī par saviem
this
brāļiem.
moment
Bet
you
tas
can
vienmēr
see
stāsta
that
par
he
pats, kā
remembers,
viņš
you know,
mokās šeit, ellē.
but he is being tormented in
Jo es
hell,
cieši
the
šeit
rich
mūsu
man.
šajā liesmā. Bet Abrahams teica, piemini dēls, ja.
Have mercy on me and send Lazarus that he may dip the tip of his finger in water and cool my tongue, for I am tormented in flame.
Viņi neuzskatīja par
But
ienākumu.
Abraham said, Son, remember that thou in thy lifetime received thy goods, and likewise Lazarus evil things, but now he is comforted and thou art tormented.
Dzīves nobeigumu viņi tādu ir izvēlējušies.
But they have chosen this
Mēs
type of
būsim tie,
ending.
kas kaut kādā mērā liecinās. Jo
But
viņi redzēs visus
they will
cilvēkus, kas viņiem ir
they will see all those people who have been witness to them.
Nevarēs pateikt, es nezināju.
They won't be able, I didn't know, I didn't see, I didn't, and they won't have any excuses. They won't
Tāpēc, ka viņiem būs dzīvi
have
cilvēki.
any excuses because those were real persons who witnessed to them, but they didn't listen.
Moments, un
This is one
tas
thing,
norāda, redziet, te
and
ir
you can
rakstīts
see that it shows.
tālāk, tā. Te tās dialogs 27. Bet tas teica, tad es tevi lūdzu, tēvs, sūti to uz manu tēva namu. Tā, kur te bija rakstīts 30. pants, bet tas sacīja.
Then he said, I pray thee therefore, Father, that thou wouldest send him to my father's house.
Tā uzruna, ja, nu tāda tuva.
And you can see that this talk, as this rich man is talking to the father Abraham, you know, it is very, that they will be really a close one. And that position, he won't be able to do anything. If this person has chosen this type of lifestyle, then he won't be able to do anything when he is in hell. Maybe he would say, oh, my neighbor will pray for me, do some good things to me, but that won't make any case, and maybe I will be saved.
Ne tevi nevienu
I can't
neaptur.
say
Cilvēkam jāpieņem
not you, but
pašam
the
savs
person
lēmums,
has to
stingrs Dieva
make his
priekšā,
own decision
kalpot
for
Dievam.
himself.
Vēl vienreiz, ko nozīmē kalpot Dievam?
What does it mean to serve for
Tad, kad
God?
mēs paklausām
When we
Dieva
listen
gribai.
to
Ko
God,
nozīmē
to the
paklausīt
will
Dieva
of
gribai?
God,
Sevi aizliegt un krustu
when we
neņemt
take up the
viens.
cross each and
Tas
every
to
day and
nozīmē.
deny ourselves and follow Him.
Jo ar pliku ticību
But
tu
with
tālu
simple
netiec.
belief, you won't get any further,
Bībelē mēs to redzam. Ja?
because we can
Tikai
see it in the
ticību,
Bible.
tici Dievam, un tad
You
šis
believe,
viss ir pasauli tic Dievam.
okay, all of the world believes in something.
It kā varētu teikt, nu,
And you would say,
viss ir
okay,
kārtībā.
that's okay, everything's okay. But no.
Tā, te vēl šitas te, mēs
And
varam
then
izlasīt te tālāk.
we can read it also further.
Sāksim no 24. Ja? Viņš saka, Abraham,
From the verse 24 we can read,
lai tas iemērs pirksta galvu ūdenī un
and send Lazarus, he may dip the tip of his
cieši
finger in
nožēlies.
water,
Bet
to
Abrahams
my
teica,
tongue.
piemin dēls,
For I
man
am
tavs
tormented in
savu
this
labo
life, but Aaron said, son, remember that thou in thy life have received thy good things,
ir dabūs, ja, un tad ir svītri, viņam ir vienkārši tu
and likewise Lazarus evil things, but now he is
un tas
comforted
ļaunums
and
var
go
būt
hard
dažādi iemesli
tormented,
pēc, kā jau es te minēju, tur ir
as I
dažādi iemesli, ja, Dievs
told
ļauj
you,
tam ļaunumam notikt, no
that
sākuma
God
puses
allowed this
inicēt
evil to
dzīvi.
happen,
Arī tavā dzīvē
and
iespējams
also
kaut
in
kāds
your life
ļaunuma
as
nāk
well.
netiec vaļā, un tu lūdzu, varbūt jau
Maybe you are
Dievu,
praying,
netiec
you
vaļā.
want to try to get rid of
Tas ir
these,
mūsu pazemība,
but it is for
tas ir
our
viens
humbleness,
iemesls, ja, mūsu dvēseles šķīrstīšanai.
for
Labāk
the
šeit
cleansing of our
nomocīties,
souls.
nekā mūžībā būt
It is
zaudētā
better to
pozīcijā.
suffer here and
Tā kā
not that
tie, kas ciešam,
in eternity.
nu, šis ir spēcīgs
Those who are suffering,
uzmundrinājums.
it is
Labāk
one
šeit
thing.
ciest un
It
paļauties
is
uz
better
Dievu
to
neatkarīgi. Viņš tev
trust to
izglābs,
God and
dziedinās
to
un vispār
suffer
nožēls,
here,
ja?
not the other way,
Nekā mūžībā aiziet uz
not
savu
in
grēku
eternity.
slāni. Tad tas ir tāds viens spēcīgs
It's
uzmundrinājums.
one thing,
Un
encouragement
te
for
rakstīts
you.
tālāk, ja 25. Tagad viņš tiek iepriecināts, bet tev jācieš moks.
And
Lai
he
gan
says,
bagātais arī varēja
you can see
iet mūžībā.
that thy good things,
Ja viņš
and likewise
nebūtu
thy evil things,
cietsirdīgs,
but now he is
un
comforted and
ticēt
go
Dievam,
hard tormented.
mainīt savu dzīvi. Bet
You
viņš
can
savu
change
dzīvi
your life.
neizmainīja, viņš vispār krustu neņēma. Viņš
And
ļāvās
the rich man, he didn't take up
To
the
mēs redzam
cross
pēc tām
at all.
ārējām formām, ka
You
viņš
can
to
see it from
uzdzīvoja,
these
bet
outer
arī
forms.
var kaut kādā mērā pat dzērājs.
He was a drunkard.
Turklāt starp
The
mums un
rich
jums
man.
atrodas liels bezdibens, ka
And
tie,
you
kas
can
no
see it also
šejienes
in
vēlētos
further,
noiet
than
pie
beside
jums,
all this
to
between us and you,
nespēja,
there is a
tāpat arī
great gulf
no jums pie mums.
so the day which would
Pat ja
pass
mēs
from hence to
gribēsim
you
to
cannot,
izdarīt,
neither can they
mēs to
pass to
nevarēsim
us
izdarīt.
that would come from thence.
Tagad, ko mēs varam izdarīt, tas
What
ir,
can we
ka
do
mēs viņus
now?
mēģinām uzrunāt.
We try to talk to people.